if you could just speak through a bit about yourself and how your business evolved and eventually maybe just leading up to how you found movement as well.
Absolutely. I guess let's go back to the start. I have been working as a physio and Pilates instructor for probably about 6 years now. Pilates first and then led into physio. I was working in a very family-run business and clinic, and essentially I just wanted to bring some Pilates to the clinic. It just started with, I guess, small group classes, and that led to our Park Pilates events. I wanted to create a bit of a community that we could bring together outside of the clinic, more of like a social fun setting that wasn't so serious all the time. And basically from there has evolved into what is now Live Active as an app. Hopefully it's going to be more than an app one day, but I think the push to find a platform like Movement was the shift for me from Sydney to Melbourne. I wanted to stay in touch with my clients and I couldn't move with them in person anymore. So I wanted to find something that I could move with them on a platform like Base that wasn't YouTube. And so, yeah, this is where my hunting, I guess, started to happen. Heaps of recommendations of many different platforms. A lot of platforms exist, I guess, as a website, and there's not much flexibility. And I was very specific, I think, in terms of what I wanted to Live Active. I knew I had this idea of bringing education and programs, sort of, I guess, more of a holistic approach to the business rather than just here, watch my video. So that's where Movement came in. I was recommended Movement by the lovely Jess Kostos. I think you would be familiar with her. So we connected via my Pilates training a few years ago, actually. She taught me. And so I reached out to her when she started building her beautiful Move app and said, where, are you getting your inspo from? Who are you working with? I need to know because it seems to be ticking all the boxes that I need. And so, yeah, she obviously mentioned you guys, and lo and behold, it was exactly what I was looking for. And here's Live Active today.
Amazing. That's a great story. And I love that Jess referred you as well. Jess has been amazing to work with too. Would you say there was like a specific challenge or something you were struggling with that made you go look for solutions in the first place?
Yes, definitely. So I think, as I mentioned before, the challenge that I kept, I guess, being presented with was probably two things. One, storage. So having a restriction on the amount of videos or storage content that I could use on a website was a massive issue. These class videos are significantly large files. And so I didn't want to be limited, I guess, by how many videos I could put up per week. So that was probably the first challenge that I kept coming into contact with. And then I think the second was there are lots of great online platforms that exist to share something like I have already in terms of classes or programs, but the ability to have so much, I guess, flexibility around how I would like to build it was, I haven't found anywhere else. I think when you know what you really want and you've got this beautiful dream in your mind, being able to bring that together with something as flexible as Movement, it doesn't exist anywhere else that I found.
Yeah, we actually hear that a lot. And it's one of the tricky parts of the platform, I guess, because it can do so many things, but also it provides huge benefits to supporting so many different people on their different visions. How did you find the experience of actually setting up your app in Movement and kind of learning the platform?
If I'm being honest, tricky at the start. I think I'm not tech savvy in the slightest. So it took me probably a good, 2 or so weeks to sit down, put my blinkers on and be like, right, what can I do and how can I make it probably more as streamlined as possible? Once I had figured out all of the toggles and all of the little, I guess, maybe shortcuts that Movement offers, it became much more streamlined. I think the best thing, more so around specifically strength building programs, I think because it does have so much flexibility and you can make the program so individualized, that allows for example, each exercise to have different reps and sets. And then you can make that one program so different to the next. But the shortcuts, as I said, that are implemented within the app have been such a lifesaver. If you're making 6 to 8 week programs, that is a lot of exercises and a lot of input data. To be able to save like a block or copy and paste an exercise and then save it as, a previous workout to just copy into the next week is incredible.
Could you share any tangible benefits or impact you've seen on your business since launching the app?
I think the best thing that it's been able to enable me to do is connect with people on a more probably intimate level. Previously, someone who might have only met me through, in-person teaching and I only get 50 minutes with them. I might be a cover teacher or I might be their physio as a once-off whilst they're traveling through. And so this app has just really been able to allow me to build a bit of a bigger and deeper relationship with my clients. I think when you think about where I started and it being with family and friends, I've sort of taken what they would have liked to have seen me do more of and just put it into the app now, whether that have been do more classes to do with Matt or do more reformer-based stretching classes. I've been able to kind of take their ideas and their prompts and build that into my app, and it exists forever for them. Like, this content isn't going anywhere. And that's the thing that I really love. Instagram exists to, show showcase reels and all of these beautiful highlights, whether, this is an app that exists always, and the clients can continue to come back to that. It's not going to expire.
Yeah, that's so true. I guess you kind of touched on this a little bit just then, but could you share any of the user feedback you've received on your app from your community or members? Is there anything that they've shared with you that they like?
Definitely things that they've liked. I think first and foremost, it looks very professional. And, for someone like myself who's not very tech savvy and didn't have a team behind me building something like this, I think a friend of mine was like, "Did you do this by yourself?" And like, it was just really exciting to hear that I could have the tools from Movement to be able to build what I had in my mind, and it looks good. So I think the usability in terms of ease to follow and I guess simplicity around, okay, you want to do a class, here is how you do it, and it's super easy to click through, rather than kind of having to filter through 1,000 different like catalog, I guess, classes. So that's been a really nice point of feedback from one of my clients. And then the other, I think it definitely has to be around the, I guess, hybrid nature of it. So a lot of my clients come from Pilates backgrounds only. They don't do any other type of movement. And so the ability to show them, one, mobility, and then two, strength training under what I would call, Pilates hub, has been really, really special. I think sometimes when a client who hasn't done strength training before, it is a little bit daunting and scary. So being able to drip feed my education and programs to them under the same roof, that has been a massive plus. And particularly, I think, for where I would like to head as a business and with Live Active, the ability to showcase all of my different skills within one app is hopefully going to be a massive plus.
Do you remember how long it took you to actually build and launch your app with Movement?
Not very long. I think the conception took me 5 years. The ideas and having the confidence, I think, to have someone else believe in me to launch was the barrier, because I think about everything and I think, oh no, it's perfect. If it's not perfect, I can't launch, which is not the case. But when it came down to it, and obviously I'd been recommended Movement, it was probably maximum 3 months. I think I signed up in July and I had a launch date in December, but obviously December it had to be done. So I think I was finished by September. Yeah, once you'd played around with your ideas and your colors and whatnot, the ability to save a workout, save a page, it was just like putting together a puzzle.
I think that's something that a lot of creators and people in general, it's just that main struggle around launching and feeling like it's at that point where it's ready. And a lot of times you want everything to be perfect, but it's just not realistic. So what would your advice be about getting to launch, or how to do that, how to get your mindset there?
Yeah, I feel like this is such a great topic. Oh, I don't have the skills. Oh, I don't have, the experience. When in reality, if you've got an idea and you're passionate about it, whether or not you have the experience, it's void, because if you're passionate and you show up and you care, it's going to translate. So I think the most important thing that I did for myself as someone who battled with a lot of imposter syndrome was I set a date. I said it out loud. So I told my partner, I told my family, and I told my close friends. And that, first of all, held me accountable. Secondly, I think I created a little bit of excitement. Obviously, it's a stressful thing. You're launching a business. It's scary. It's daunting. You've never done it before. I wanted there to be a little bit of a celebration after all the hard work. So I had planned a community event. So when we were in Melbourne, we did the launch event the weekend before I launched online. And so I think for me, that was the fun side of building this app, because it was almost like a reward. So obviously, yes, the app and all the hard work had gone into the piece, but the physical event that came together where I just got to teach and be myself and move with a whole group of bodies in front of me almost felt more real to me than the app. So yeah, setting the date and having something as a bit of a celebration or a launch to just create that community, because there really is nothing more powerful than bringing a group of people together who have the same ethos and values to just really showcase, like I did something for a reason and a purpose. And then I think the last thing, which I am still definitely learning and working to overcome, is there is no such thing as perfect or perfection. I think I changed my program after I launched like 4 times. And my clients wouldn't have noticed, because quite frankly, they would have been doing so many other things in their own life that when they were ready, they came back and they did the program and it wasn't any bother to them, because I'd already gone in and changed it. So I think just letting go of the idea that it has to be perfect, because at the end of the day, launching and having the product available for my clients to see, and also for, I guess, myself to have as accountability already existing was so much more important than, oh, that class wasn't quite good, I should refilm that class.
Amazing. And I actually saw that you do a lot of in-person events like the Pilates in the park, and those look amazing. Do those play into the marketing as well at all?
Absolutely. So the most recent event that we just hosted for International Women's Day, because I do those events sporadically, but often enough, especially now that I'm back in Sydney, I love to sprinkle obviously anything to do with Live Active at those events. So between brochures or gift vouchers or share with a friend for your chance to win, be it a piece of activewear or an opportunity to access the app for 3 months for free, they are absolutely prime moments for Live Active's marketing. And I think it's nice because obviously a lot of the clients that come to those events already know about me and already know about Live Active, but the ability to pass on to a friend is really, really powerful. Obviously, we've gone and put so much time and energy into this app, and now it's about telling people that it exists. So I did start looking into Meta. I'm very lucky. One of my partner's best friends is in digital marketing, and so he's been throwing a few hot tips at me. But essentially, I think at this point in time of the business, it's now, okay, we've got the app, it exists. Now I need to throw a little bit more into this marketing world. So yes, the website is a great maybe sprinkling of information about what the app is. But I think, yeah, absolutely, I would love to dive into more Facebook and Instagram ads. So that's definitely on my top of my to-do list. And then it's funny, obviously, so far it's been word of mouth at the moment and a lot of connections with my clients that I see face to face. And so I've gone and done a lot of physical marketing with Canva. So I've been able to like print a few flyers, print a few brochures, and I've just got those in clinics that I've been working with in the past, which has been really fantastic. For example, if another friend of mine who is a physio or chiro has a client that needs some type of movement therapy and they don't want to go to a studio, they can jump online to Live Active. So that is hopefully where probably the next 3 months of my time will be dedicated to marketing.
I guess in that vein, what are the next steps and what does the future look like for Live Active?
Oh my gosh. So we have a new strength program launching hopefully next week, which is, as I said, a build program. So we're progressing from our first program we've got in the app. And that is really for, as I mentioned before, my clients who are ready to take on a new challenge that might not be Pilates. It's a little bit out their comfort zone, but there's so much excellent evidence to implement strength training for women. So that's something that I'm going to really try and push. And then following closely behind, we're releasing a Pilates Strong program. And that will be similar to what I've got on the app around introduction to Pilates, but it's an introduction for my clients who are maybe just dipping their pinky toe into strength and functional training, but they still want it to be called Pilates. So I think I have 2 big probably program launches for Live Active in the next, say, 3 months. And then I guess the big goal for Live Active would be to start integrating my education piece. So something that I have obviously prioritized within my classes has been to sprinkle golden nuggets almost of education into my classwork. But I would absolutely love the ability to almost create like a conversation style chat with the clients and my users on Live Active around maybe it's once a fortnight, we dive into a topic of conversation, whether that be pelvic floor or things pregnancy and postpartum. I think that the more that we can share what we learn as health professionals with our clients and with our community, the better off everybody is. And we're not gatekeeping any golden secrets, we're learning to just help our community. So that would be where I would love to head from the app's point of view. But I guess my overarching goal for Live Active is to actually get into schools. I work as a pediatric physio as a part-time job. And so I work with a lot of females and particularly athletic females. And I think we have so successfully via Instagram and social media at the moment targeted women in sport, women in movement, and it's really having a moment and it's epic to see. However, there is almost like this missing jigsaw puzzle piece for the young woman. And I think if there is any goal of mine in the next, maybe say 5 to 10 years, it would be let's find this target market of, the young female athlete or the young athletic female. And can I take Live Active and its app, but me into schools and provide education to young women around what menstruation looks like and how you can move your body and how we can support the developing body from things to bras, to shoes, to period care and the rest of it. So the app would then come along, I guess, as an accessory of that education piece for the girls to use.
That's amazing. That's so cool. I had no idea. You've got so much on. I agree with you around especially women's education. And I feel like postpartum and all that, there was a massive gap around pelvic floor education and postpartum. And I feel like that's something that's really exploded in the online space in the last year or two, especially kind of within our platform. But you're right that before that, when people are in school, young girls, like young athletes, especially, there's not a lot of support and education. And so, yeah, I think that's really important and amazing that you're focusing towards that as well.